Well, so this is your exam question paper. So probably I'll increase the font size. Yeah. So this is your exam paper, and this is your PDF, right? Your regular 2.14, 4.14 PDF, right? So while practicing, you keep this document handy, and then you can refer this document while practicing, right? Now, so in the exam, you will get almost like 20 to 25, 20 to 20, 18 to 21 questions. Again, it varies from environment to environment, but definitely you get minimum of 18 questions, right? From there, it can be 20 or 21. So currently, I think we have 21 questions here, and it will cover all the exam topics, right? And then, and then uh, you know. Right, and that is a scenario. So once you log into the exam, I mean, when you're into the Prometric Center or you're writing remotely, so you'll be logging into a laptop, right? That is your workstation. From there, you will be logging into the OpenShift environment, right? So for that, in the exam, they will give you the console URL. They will give you the API URL, both. Okay, so before starting the exam, they will give you a HTML file. So you have to double click on that HTML file. There, they will give you the instructions, right? Where they will give you the cube admin password. They will give you there will be a file in somewhere in the exam. So they will give you that location. If you do a cat and this file name, you will get the cube admin password. So through which you have to log into the cluster, right? And they will give you this API URL, and they will also give you the console URL, and make sure you save those usernames, passwords, and URLs in Notepad. You can open a gedit and then you can save that. Otherwise, the passwords are not simple, right? They put some complicated passwords. So you can open up a gedit. Gedit is your text editor, and then you can save this passwords, your API URL, and then your console URLs in those in those in those gedit, so that you can refer to them, right? Now, so coming part, that is your exam scenario, right? So they will give you all the details, and they will give you the documentation. So they will give you the offline documentation, and you can refer to the documentation, while writing the exam. You will not have internet access, but you will have access to the offline documentation. But I would not recommend you to use this documentation, because you will not have time in the exam, right? Or the whole is a 3 hours exam, so you will not have access to the documentation, and to search, copy paste, and do a lot of stuff. You'll be wasting a lot of time in this. So my suggestion is you practice thoroughly so that you don't require this documentation, right? But it depends, like depending upon your thing, you have to see. You have to, in my view, I think accessing this is a waste of time, because we don't have that kind of time, because you have to solve 20 questions.
So 3 hours is enough for 20 questions?
I mean, it's enough. It depends upon how well you practice.
Yeah, got it. But if we practice thoroughly,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
3 hours are enough, or else we can do
Of course,
little
of
bit,
course.
like 15 minutes early.
If you practice enough, in the sense, you should not refer to this documentation.
Okay.
If you practice in that way, 3 hours should be good enough.
Okay.
So, but only thing is, all the commands, the files, it should be on your fingertips, so that you can immediately run those commands. So if you forget those commands, if you look at the man pages, if you look at documentation, that will eat up some time. But if you do it in a continuously, I think 3 hours should be good enough. So
Yeah, in between we may take 5 or 10 minutes break, right? So is that enough? That is what I'm asking.
there is no break actually. So
Oh, no break.
no,
Okay.
you can take a break, but the
Yeah, yeah.
timer will not stop.
Yeah, yeah. Got it.
Timer will not stop. So maximum, I think they will give up to 5 or 10 minutes, and that too only after 1 hour.
One
So
hour, yes.
that is 3 hours, right? After the first hour only, you will get the break for
Yes, yes.
5 10 minutes, and the timer will not stop.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, but these are all the extra things. So probably, taking a break, and, I mean, you can take a break, go back and refer the document. That's also you can do it. But those are all, time consuming, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah. If it is a simple commands, you can go refer, but these are not simple, right? So these are complex.
Yes, yes.
Probably if you practice, I think that's the easy way to clear. Yeah. And yeah, so coming back to the first question, right? They will ask you to configure the identity providers. So they will ask you to configure identity providers. They will give you the identity provider name. They will provide the file name, the secret file name, whatever you wanted to create, right? And then they will ask you to create accounts, in this case, 5 accounts with some username, leader, developer, tester, 5 usernames. And then they will give you the passwords. Like for this leader user, they want you to set this as a password. For this test username, they want us to use this password. So they will give you the usernames, passwords. So you need to create 5 accounts using the HT password credentials. Then that is your first question. So create 5 accounts and remember they will give you the identity name, what identity that you have to use, and then they will give you the HT password secret file name. So again, these are very, very important. If you create your provider with a different username, with the different name, you're gone with the exam. And this first 4 questions, like we will see the next 4 questions, those first 4 questions are user management, right? If you do any mistake in the user management, right? If you do any mistake in the user management, you will get 0 marks because your exam script will log in using this 5 accounts. So let's say leader, right? Leader you are giving as a cluster admin access. So if you give a wrong access to this leader account, your script will not be able to log in and perform your scripts. So these first 5 questions are very, very important, right? 4 to 5 questions. So make sure again when you give the passwords also don't type them manually. Copy paste those passwords because the passwords might be complex, right? So they might have underscore. The password is different, right? So save those passwords. Copy paste the passwords. Don't just type it because while typing you might give instead of Entersoft Labs you might give only Entersoft Lab. So you might miss that yes. So in that case, your script will not be able to log into the leader user and you will get 0 marks. Right? So that is very, very important. Right? So first, how do you create users in a HT password file? So for this, what you do is you go back to the third chapter. Okay. In the third chapter, authentication authorization, you have this first guide exercise, right? You can click on this guide exercise, right? So this is where you can start. So you can run this command lab start auth providers. But in exam, you don't have to do this. This is in your lab. Okay, so run this command so that your lab will be ready now, right? So let's wait for a few seconds. Just give me a minute. In the meantime, it loads. Just give me 2 minutes. Just give me a minute. Okay. So now this is done. So now from here the exam starts. So this lab commands only work in your lab. Okay, not in the exam. So from here your exam paper starts for this question. Okay. So for that, go back to your exam. So first you need to create HT password, right? So HT password hyphen CB and they will give you this name. Okay. So when you practice, you can give EX280 hyphen your name, but in exam they will give you this name, right? So in our case, what we will do is HT password hyphen CB. Okay, and then probably I will give EX280. Okay, that's it. Okay, but this EX280, remember, I'm again specifying again and again. This is the name in Red Hat they will give you. This is the name, right? You should use the same name. Don't use a different name. Okay, and then leader followed by the enter soft. So the name is leader, and the password is enter soft. Some passwords. I'm copy pasting the password, right? If you see ls, you will see HT password file. Okay, so uh, cat EX280. See, I have the leader user account. Similarly, you create all the rest of the accounts. So HT password hyphen B, username labs. Okay. So here I will say 280. Okay. And then you create the developer account. So okay. So this usernames will change in the exam. They will give whatever the names that they want. And
Yeah.
similarly, I have tester account. Okay. So test account. Okay. So tester. Okay. Tester account. And then I have a jobs account. Okay. Okay. So, but this HT password commands they will not give. They will give you. They will ask you to create users. That's it. Okay. And then similarly, QA account. Okay. Now, if we say cat EX280, see these are the 3, 4, 5 accounts that I have created: leader, developer, tester, jobs, and QA. Right now, your users with the username and passwords are ready. So now you have to create a secret, and then you have to upload this file into the secret. Right? So OC create secret generic, that is a command. Okay, right? And then okay, you give some name EX280 hyphen secret, and this secret name also they will give in the exam. This name also they will give it in the exam. Remember, this name and this name, these two names they will give in the exam. So you have to use the same names. So OC create secret generic, the secret name, and hyphen hyphen from file HT password equal to 280. That is the password file that I am referring. Okay, and then hyphen in OpenShift hyphen config. So you have to create this secret inside OpenShift hyphen config, right? Hyphen hyphen from file. Okay, okay. Uh, okay, I have to log in, right? So OC login hyphen view admin hyphen field with head secret. So that is the, so you have to log into the of course you have to log into the OpenShift environment, right? Log in and then you run the same command. So OC create secret generic from file and then your secret will be created. So all your OpenShift commands, I mean the first five commands should be run as a cluster admin, that is your admin account. So, but in exam, it will be cube admin. So if you scroll up here, they will give you the cube admin and cube admin password. See, you have to log in using this command. So once you log in, then you have to run all these OC commands. Now, next is you export the OAuth file. OC get OAuth cluster hyphen o YAML, export the OAuth file. Okay, export the OAuth file and then edit the OAuth file and then modify the OAuth file. So to go here, under identity providers, you already have LDAP configured, right? So don't touch this LDAP. Open up a new line and write your HT password here. Okay? So this is how it works. So identity providers, right? So you should see something like this, right? Or you can go back to the exam guide also. So if you see, you can see there is a reference here. See HT password. Right? In exam, you have to type, there is no option. Right? You have to remember this, all the options. Right? Let me align and then I'll explain you file data, name equal to so and so, and then mapping name type. Mapping name type.
In the documentation, it won't be present.
Documentation will be there. So, but you have to search the documentation, it will take some time. Okay,
Okay.
so this paragraph you need to manually write it, or if you are okay, if you have time, you can search the documentation. And remember, if you observe, this is uppercase D, this is uppercase M, right? So these are all you need to remember, right? HT password. file data, so and so, so and so, so and so. So you have to write this section as it is. And remember, this LDAP, whatever you see, right, this should match with HD pass file. And these two should be indented at the same level. So all these things you need to practice well before sitting for the exam. Right? But in the exam, there are different things. What is the provider that you have created? We have created EX280, right? So that should be your name, EX280. Okay? That should be name of your identity provider. And then the secret name that you have created. What is the secret name that you have created? Okay? Right? So what is the secret name? What is the secret name that you have created? EX280 secret. So you have to refer that secret here. So this is the secret that you are attaching as a file data, and the name of your identity provider is EX280. Okay. Remember, I'm already stressing again, this name and this name, they will give in the exam, you have to use the same name. If you give a different name here or here, your whole exam is gone. You will get 0 marks. Even though you perform all the questions correctly, you will get 0 marks because your validation script will try to log in. And if you give a wrong username, wrong location, right, your script will not be able to log in and you get 0 marks. That is very, very important. Right? So give the secret name, right? So name of your thing, and then the secret name. Okay. Now once that is done, save this file. Okay. And then run oc replace -f quad.yaml. Okay. Once you have done this, right, you have to wait for the pods to be recreated. So run oc get pods -o OpenShift -n OpenShift -authentication. You have to wait for the pods to be recreated because this was created 9 minutes back, right? So probably in the pod, wait for this pod to be recreated. Okay. So once you replace your authentication pods, once you replace your OAuth file, the authentication pods should restart. Okay. So wait for it. Okay. So then what is the password that we have given? Leader enter sort, right? Okay. So you will log in and check OC login -u reader -key enter so invalid credentials because the pod needs to be recreated. Okay. So don't panic, wait for 1 2 minutes. It will take some time to recreate because it needs to identify the changes, right? So it wait for at least 2 minutes. In the exam also don't panic. Even after 2 minutes, if the pod is not getting created, then you have to troubleshoot it, right? So let's wait, you know, for 2 3 minutes and then see if there's update. In the meanwhile, you can also check the configuration, right? So you can also check OC get OAuth cluster OYAML. So run this and check, right? See whether your data is correct or not. See, identity providers, HD password, file data, sort of claim, type is HD password. So should be fine, right? So let's wait for the pods. You can also run watch command also and watch the pods. Be in the same pod. Let's see. Open secret authentication. You have to wait for the pods to be recreated. Mm, Let's check our OAuth.yaml once again to see if there is any issue. EX280 is the password. Should be fine. File data. Right, let's see. See, it is now creating. So don't be panic in the exam. At least you need to wait for 4 to 5 minutes, right? So because the changes, whatever you have done, right, your open shift should identify, which will take some time, right? So the way that you can test is once you replace your OAuth OpenShift pods under your OpenShift authentication should recreate at 32 seconds. So if the pods have been recreated, then your configuration is correct. If your pods are not getting created even after 5 minutes, you have done some mistake in the auth file. You have to open the file, modify the file, and then run OC replace -f again. Okay? So that's how you can troubleshoot. Right? So that is your first question. Right? Create your HT password authentication. And any questions so far on the first question?
No.
Right? So that is how you need to solve your first question. Okay. And then second question. So that is second question is also on user administration. So the permission is assign cluster admin role to jobs user, assign developer user to assign developer user able to create. I mean, developer account should be able to create projects, right? Developer user should not have cluster admin privileges, right? QA should have able to access the create projects. Cube admin user should not exist. Okay? These are all the permissions. So how do you do that? So first thing is jobs. So assign cluster admin role to jobs account. So the command is OCADM policy add cluster role to user cluster admin job. So we are assigning a cluster admin role to jobs user. Okay. So if you remember, we have this right cat slash yesterday we have jobs user that we have created, right? So this job user I'm giving an admin access. So OCADM policy add cluster role to admin jobs account. So I'm giving a cluster admin role to jobs user, right? That is one, right? So you can ignore this warning because we have not logged into the job account, right? That is why you are giving the warning. Otherwise, if you log in, you will not see this warning, right? So you have given a cluster name to jobs one. Right? Next is the developer should be able to create projects. So who can create projects? The person who has self-provisioner role. So OCADM policy add cluster role to user, self-provisioner to developer. So we are giving a self-provisioner access to the developer so that this role, self-provisioner role, is responsible for creating the project. Okay. So this will give the access to developer to create the project. Okay. That is self-provisioner role. Now, the next thing is we have to, and again, what they have mentioned, um, right? So only developer should be able to create. So we have to remove this self-provisional role from all the users that we have created. So for that, OCADM policy, remove cluster role from group, self-provisional system for authenticate. So what we are doing is we are removing all the users from self-provisional roles so that only developer account can create the projects. Rest all cannot create, right? So run this command. So that will create that will remove the user from the self-provisional role, right? So that is we have removed the self-provisional. So now in our scenario, uh, I think there is a wrong mistake here. DEVE developer. Okay. Develop, right? Right. So we have to now developer user is the only one who can create the projects. Right. Now next thing is, since we have given cluster admin to job, right? So they want us to switch to the job account, right? So and then you can log into the admin, and then the next command is cube admin user shouldn't exist. This is very, very important, right? Now we have given jobs user cluster admin role, right? That is, he has full access, right? Now you have to log into the jobs account. Like, see, you're logging to the job account, and then you have to delete the cube admin account using OC delete secret cube admin and -n cube admin system. So you have to delete this secret. Now remember, if you don't give a cluster admin access to the job account, or if no user has the cluster admin access, and if you delete this cube admin account, there is no way you can recover the password. There is no way. Simply you can shut down your laptop and say you have to tell them that you're done with the exam. So this, in my view, you don't delete the account, keep it as it is. Probably you will lose 2 or 3 marks. That's it, or maximum 5 marks. So if you still want, that's fine. You can delete you can use this command to delete the Qubit default account. Otherwise, keep it as it is. No need to touch. And remember, before deleting, your jobs account should have cluster admin access. That is the important point, right? That is your second question, creating the permissions. So any questions on the second question?
On the second question, third line, the developer should not have cluster admin privileges. So do we need to execute anything, or by
Yeah,
default it don't have any?
by default they don't have. Yeah. So because
Okay, that's like a tricky question.
exactly. That's, they will try to what do you call make you think again, like by giving this kind of statements. Yeah.
Oh
Otherwise,
yeah.
by default, all the group by default any account will be your normal account.
Okay.
That is the second question. And next is third, create projects. So they will give you some projects name, project 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or I mean, in this PDF you will see simple names, but in exam they will give you proper names with some names, right? So create the projects, and they will ask you to create permissions on the project. Like, user leader should have admin privileges on project 1 and project 2. So leader user should have admin access to these two projects. Developer should have admin privileges to project 1. Right? QA can have view privileges to project 3. So that is your questions. So how do you do that? First, create the project. So OC, new project, project 1. Okay. So new project, project 1. Okay, I'll do project 2, project 3, project 4, project 5. So in exam, they will give you a proper name. They will not give you project 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They will give some unique names. So you have to copy paste those names and create the projects. After that, since you're using a cluster level permissions, I mean project level permissions, the command is OCADM policy, add role to user, admin, leader on project 1. So I am assigning leader as an admin, okay, leader user as an admin privileges to the project 1 project. Right? Next is similarly admin account on leader 2. See, admin account on leader 2. See, he should have admin privileges to project 1 and project 2. Okay. So use the same command as a project 2. So the leader user has the admin privileges on project 1, project 2. Right. Next is developer should have admin on the third project. See, developer should have admin privileges on the project 1. Right. So again, developer. So change the person to developer. Okay. And next, QA should have view access. So OCIDM policy, view access to QA user. So for QA, I am giving the view access on project 3. That's it. I mean, you can ignore all these warnings because this warning you are seeing it because you have not logged into the users. That's why you are seeing. Otherwise, if you log in, you will not see that mesh error. Sorry, warning. Okay, that is your third question. Okay, but again, remember, again, I'm stressing the important point. If you don't do the first question properly, you will not be able to log in. You will not be able to run any commands inside the cluster. That is very, very important. So first question is very, very important. So that is your third question. And fourth question is create groups and assign permissions. So now we have to create groups. Okay? Assign the leader user to the production group, developer to the development group, QA to the development group, tester to the tester. So they are asking you to create groups and add users to that group. Okay. Developer group can create or delete applications in project 4 and tester group can view in project 5. So first what you need to do, you need to create groups. So OCADM groups new production. So this is how you create groups. Production, and then another group is developer, development, production, development, and testing. Okay. So how do you check the groups? OC get groups. That will show you group C, developer, development, production, and then testing. Okay. And there are no users here. See, development, production, and testing, there are no users. So we will try to add the users to this group. Okay. So how do you add users to the group? The command is OCADM groups add users. For productions, I am adding a leader user. Okay. So copy this. Again, you have to practice all this command to give this this one, remove this. So what we are doing, OCADM groups add users production. So we are adding leader user to the production group, and this is the production group that we have created, and currently it is empty, right? And now if I say OC get groups, see my production will have leader. This is how you can test, right? So I have added leader user to the production group. Similarly, add developer to the development. Okay, so copy paste it and then remove the uname, development, okay. So add username to the development group. See, the developer user should be part of development group, and QA user to the development group, right? So they want, they want developer and QA to the same group, right? So I have to mention hyphen QA. So I am adding developer and QA to the development group. Okay. Now if you say OC get groups, see for development I have developer and QA. Right? That is one thing. And finally, the next thing is tester user to testing group. So OCADM groups have tester and testing. So I am adding tester user to testing group. Currently testing is empty. Right? So run this command, OC groups. See, now testing group has tester. What do you call development will have development and QA, and production has leaders. Likewise, you need to cross check after creating the groups. So you need to create the groups and you have to add the users to the group. Okay. Now permissions. What they have given, development group can create or delete applications in project 4. We have to give edit access. So OC policy, add role to group, edit access to development on project 4. And testing user group should have view access to project 5. So OCADM policy, add role to group, which is a view is the group, and I'm giving it to the testing group on project 5. right? So what I'm doing, let me run this again and show you. So remove the username. Okay. So what I'm doing, OC policy, add role to group. What is the group? Development is the group. And what is the permission I'm setting up to this development group? Edit access. And on which project? Project 4. On project 4, development team will have edit access. Who are part of development team? Development team as what? Developer and QA. So literally developer and QA users will get the edit access on project 4. Okay. Similarly, view access to project 5. Okay, so let me copy paste and let me explain. So remove this. What I'm doing, I'm giving the view access to the testing group on project 5. And who has testing? Testing has the tester account. So this tester user can view the contents of project 5. Okay, so that is how you can create the permission. Okay, that is your fourth question. So any questions under these 4 questions?
No,
Any doubts?
no, it's
And be careful, as I said, right? These 4 questions are very, very important. Very, very important.
okay.
To be simple, but if you make any mistakes, mistake can be anywhere. You can give a wrong username, you can give a wrong password, you can give a wrong permission. But if you do that right, your script will not be able to validate your exam. So these 4 are very, very important. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, understood.
So that's the thing. Okay. So that's your fourth question. And you have seen the limits, right? Limit ranges in the exam, in the course, right? So you can go back to PDF. And now, all these 4 questions, remember, they will be coming from the 3rd chapter.
Okay.
So if you practice the 3rd chapter, you will get 4 questions.
Okay.
First 4 questions. So practice all this lab so that you can clear those 4 questions. Now, coming part to 5th question. 5th question is on limit ranges. So how do you set the limit ranges for your applications, pod, you know, your memory CPU for your pod, memory minimum maximum for your pod, minimum max for your containers. These are all the memory CPU assignments to your pods and this one. And in the question, they will give you, see, create resource limits with this name. So this name is important. You have to use this name, and they will give you the details. For pods, minimum memory is 10, maximum is 5. For containers, minimum memory is so and so, so and so. For CPU, minimum is this, maximum is this. For containers, minimum CPU, maximum CPU. They will give you all these details. Using this, you need to create a YAML file. Okay? So for that, you need to remember, or you need to create this file. Like otherwise, you have to search the documentation and you can write this limit range file. Well, so and then once you're done, you have to create your limit ranges. Right? So limit ranges is in your 6th chapter. So go down. The 6th chapter is your limit range. See, guided exercise, pre-project corporate limit ranges. So this is the limit range. Right. So this is the 6th question. So you can run this command and then limit range, right? So limit range. Yeah. So you have to write the limit range, the file in this way. Right? But in this lab, they have given you graphical thing. But you can do this in graphics also. But again, there is no much difference. So probably what you can do is so right. So let's say if they ask you to configure on project file, right? What you can do is you can log into the your UI, right? And then see, you have created this EX280, right? So you can click on this 280, and then your leader who has the cluster admin access, right? So leader, and then leader, and the password is that's fine. So log into the cluster using the cluster admin. Now, no, I think leader I have not given a cluster admin access. So you can give the cluster admin access. Okay. So let's log in as a leader. I go to leader. Okay, fine. So come back. Or what is the use? We have given to jobs, right? Or else it's okay. You log into the any account, that's fine. No, create a project. Okay. So let's say you have projects, right? So click on project 5. We have created project 5, right? So click on the project. Pick any project. They will give you the project name. Okay, so take project 5, and in the exam, remember, they will give you in which project. So projects in the project limits project. So they will give you the project name where you need to configure the limit range. So go to that project, right? So go to that project, select that project, and go down in the administration, click on administration, you will have limit ranges. See, limit ranges. So you click on limit range, right? And you click on create limit range, and that will open up a YAML file. So you can modify this YAML file. Otherwise, you have to remember all this. You have to write this everything in the text UBI, right? So otherwise, you have to write the file from the scratch. See here, I have V1 limit range. I have metadata. See, I have everything here. So here you give the name. So they will give you this name, EX280 quota limit. So you have to give the same name. Okay. So change this name. So name is so and so. Okay. The name is limit range and project file is my project name, right? And then here you write all these specs. You need to type this, under specs, under limits. See, I have default request, and type equal to container. And if you see, I have maximum, minimum, and that too for type. For container, I have maximum, minimum. For pod, I have maximum, minimum. So this is for pod, right? So this is for type pod and this for type container. So you have to type all these things, maximum, minimum, and then you have to save this file. So here you need to at least till here you have your file, right? So you have to type all these things, right? So under type containers, you have to mention this, and then you have to mention this, and then you have to check the details. Right? The only challenge in this question is you have to learn this indentation, and you have to write this indentation, right? So you have to practice this, and if you are okay, if you remember everything, fine. You don't have to go to graphics. You just in the console prompt, you open up a VA editor file, create a file, and then put all those things. If you don't want, right, if you don't remember it properly, right, you can use this way, log into graphics. At least you will have the base structure. From there, you try to modify the files, right? So this is simple question, but again, you need to practice all these things. So that is very, very important. Okay. So once you have that file, OC create -f limit.quota, and then you can the quotas will be created. Otherwise, you can just click create. So I mean, when you practice, you put all those entries. So for pod containers, whatever there was, and then you click on create. See that limit range will be created in your project file. So you can also run OC describe limit range. So you can go back. So OC get limit ranges -n project file. See, quota limit. So you can also OC describe a limit range, and then EX280 is you can also run the description. See, 256 256 default. So likewise, you can cross check your containers and pod with the limits. Then the challenge here is writing this file. So you have to mug up this syntax and then you have to write it. Otherwise, you have documentation. You can refer to the documentation also, but don't spend too much in documentation. Search the file with the limits, and then you can create the limit resources. Okay, any questions?
One doubt, like in the question they mentioned like .yml file, right?
Mhm.
So if you go through with the GUI mode, then it will not create this file, right?
No. This file name, right? There is
Yeah.
no rule that you need to use any name. No need. You can put any.
Okay. Okay.
The important point is this one.
Okay.
The name of the limit range they will give you in the exam. So you
Okay.
have to create a limit range with this name. This file can be any file name, no issues.
I understand. Can you explain me that first the first line on the fifth question? The question. Yeah,
Uh,
create resource limit and
the
the
name.
resource limit name is there. Yeah, okay.
This is the name we have
So
to put here.
understood. So on the last, like defining range of source access, I mean resource access for projects in limits projects, limits enum. That is what I'm a bit confused.
So you need to create this limit range inside this project. So in our case, what we have done is we have created our limit range inside project file.
Oh, okay.
So they will create project name. They will tell you project name and limit range name.
Okay.
So
The
because
project will be pre-exist, right?
exactly. So the
Okay.
limit ranges are project resources.
Okay.
So you should create inside that project. And remember, all the resources, whatever you create, which should be within the project. Otherwise, they don't validate. So if you create this limit quotas in project 4, they don't validate.
Okay.
So it should be in project 5. So they will give you the project name and you have to create that in the project 5. So that is your fifth question. Okay. And again, only challenge.
You explained me, sorry, you explained me through GUI mode, right? Going inside the project. So if I want to go with a CLI, how can I get into that particular project and create there?
Same thing. So what you do is you go back, like OC project,
Hmm.
let's say project 5, project
Oh,
4, let's say. Right.
oh, okay.
Now VI some my limits dot YAML, some name.
Yeah. Now I understood. Okay, I'm good.
Insert mode, probably what I'll do is I can come back to graphics and then I will create one more limit range and probably I'll copy the same content. See, I'll copy. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if I can copy this from graphics to CLI, but let's see. No, I can't copy. Can I copy? Or what I can do is simple thing is you can download, man.
We
You
can
can
Mm-hmm.
copy.
Yeah.
above there is T symbol, right? From the
No, I think that is for pasting the content.
Yeah,
Uh,
that is only for pasting the content. Yeah.
so I cannot copy this, copy and then paste. I don't think. No.
Yeah, it's
So
not
what
getting.
we do is we can download this file,
Mm.
okay, and then it will download in the downloads folders, right? So we can what you can do is uh, ls downloads. See limit range. So we have
Okay.
downloads uh, and then limit range. So modify these changes here. Let's say I will give maybe let's say I'm modifying it, right? So I'll
Okay.
make
Yeah.
it 200 and then I will give you 256, right?
Mm.
So likewise you have to modify everything and then save it, OC create -F, download image. And remember, you have to be inside this project and then run the
Understood.
command. Otherwise, if you are in
Yeah.
a different project, this will be created in a different project.
Understood. Yeah.
There is some configuration issue, so probably we'll give more value. Okay, probably default. Yeah, probably maybe I'll give 500 and then maybe 800. Let's say some value. Okay. So default value is greater than the default limit. So I think we are giving the wrong thing. So here it should be 5, okay, and it should be 800. Okay, that should be 5. Now that will create. Okay, now
Yeah.
OT get limit ranges, right? -N project 5. Okay,
Okay.
project 4.
Just typo on the project.
No, OC project. Oh, sorry. Project. In project 4, right? Where did we create? And look at this file. See here what happened. What is a mistake?
Yeah.
It says
Name 5.
right. So that is a mistake. So these are all silly mistakes, but you have to make sure. So change this to project 4, and then recreate. We use the same script. Change it. Right. Create.
Yeah.
And now if you say OC get limit range project 4, see it has created. OC describe limit range, and then mem limit range. See 508. So important point is you can create this file either through CLI or through UI, but make sure you are using the right name and the right project, and then modify this, and then you can run this.
Yeah. Understood now.
So practice is very important for this. Now practice is like this indentation, that is very important. But if you observe
Yeah.
carefully, see maximum, minimum, default. See memory. So easily we can remember it. But where you
Yes.
have to start this maximum minimum is very important.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is your fifth question. Scaling your application. You already have an application running somewhere in your environment. They will ask you to scale. So the command is OC scale DC deployment name and replica number. So what you can do is you can create an application for your testing, right? Maybe you can search for OC new OC create deployment. Okay. You can search for OC create deployment in your PDF. DPLUYLEX.
No. There is a typo in the create.
Sorry. CREATE. Okay. So search for this, right? So you will see some examples. Okay. Yeah, this one. So OC create, I mean, this you don't have to create in the exam, but when you practice, you can do this. So OC create deployment test and some test name. Okay. So again, let's switch to this. Again, you should switch to that project. So OC project, let's say project 1. You have to switch to that. And if you say OC get pods or OC get deployments, you should be able to see the deployment, right? Since we don't have the deployment, we are creating it, right? Simple deployment, Nginx deployment, right? So then OC get deployment. So your exam, you should look like this. OC get pods. So currently I have one. This is your exam. In your exam, you have to write this command. See, OC scale deployment DC and replica is equal to 5. So OC scale deployment slash test or whatever name you have, right? Test followed by hyphen replicas equal to 3. Replicas equal to 3. If you say OC get pods, you should be able to see 3 pods. That's it. So in exam, this is the only command you have to run. That's it. Check the deployment name and provide hyphen replicas equal to 3. Okay.
Okay, can you show the question, please?
This one. Manually
Manual
scale
scale
them.
and application to 5 replicas.
So you have to go to that project, OC get DC, then scale your deployment, then OC get pods.
I mean,
Okay. Any questions? Right? Clear, right? Will you proceed to 7th question?
oh, sorry. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Oh no, sorry. I think might be a net issue. So the first things, I mean, the first line says like 5 replicas in dev username, right? So do we need to run with the development user
No.
or the?
So permissions will not come into picture. So
Okay.
they will ask you to scale because you can log. You will be logging into that user by default there. So once you create, right, so you can create the replica. So usually they will ask you to do this as an admin account. You have the cluster admin account, right, leader, right? They will ask
Yeah,
you
yeah,
to do this with that account. Otherwise, they will mention which user that you have to do it. So you have to log into that cluster using that account or OC login username, and then you perform these steps.
Okay, I think here in this context is like a OC project dev, right? I think the project name itself dev, right?
Yeah, and if you
In this
recall,
context only.
the application is already there
Mm-hmm.
in a project. So that is your project is already there. So
Yeah.
definitely you should log in as a leader account
Okay.
because leader account has access to full projects.
Okay.
Then we have not given any RBAC to our this custom project. We have not given.
Okay.
So mostly it should be by cluster admin. Yeah. Or if it is not cluster admin, in the question he will give you log into this user and then perform this. So then in that
Okay.
case, OC login, and then you perform this.
Yeah.
Okay. Next is auto scaling. So we have done it manually, right? So we have done it manually.
Yeah.
So we have to do auto scaling. Right? How do you do auto scaling? You have to create the auto scaling. And if you see, they will tell you application pod, there is an application pod, always has minimum 6 pods running, and number can be increased to 9 pods if CPU increases to 60%. Right? So when the application reaches 60% of utilization, it should extend your replicas, and maximum it can go up to 9 pods. And then container should use request 25M and limit request to 100M. So you need to set the limits to your application. So there are 2 commands that you need to check. So go to that project, right? They will tell you the project. They will if you are logged in as a cluster admin, it's well and good. If not, they will give you the username. They will give you the project name. Go to that project, get the pods, get the DC, right? And we will use the same example. Here we already have, right? OC get DC also, right? So let's say this is my deployment config. Okay, right? This is my test. Like in exam, again, remember this project is different, this project is different, 2 different projects. So the application is already running. So you just have to change permission. Now, 2 commands. So first thing is you have to set the request. So for that, the command is OC set resources DC name request equal 25 CPU equal 100. So in our case, what is DC? DC is test. Okay. So what I will do is, so I'll copy paste this. So OC set resources DC and the DC name is test. And I am setting the request CPU 25 limits equal to CPU 100. So I am setting the request and limit for my deployment. That is the second question that I am configuring. Second part of the question. Right? Now So run this, right? Deployment, not DC deployment. Right? So this is updated. How can you cross check whether this has been updated to your deployment? OC, describe, deployment, test. So see, CPU is 25 and 100, right? So edit your check your deployment, scroll up, see limits, CPU 100, request is CPU 25. So you can cross check whether your deployment has these parameters, right? And then how to scale, configure your auto scaling. So OC auto scale, deployment name, minimum 6, maximum 6, CPU percentage equal to 60. So let me run and explain. So what is my DC name? OC get DC, sorry, OC get deployment. My deployment name is test. So OC auto scale, the command is scale deployment and the name is test. Minimum is 6, maximum is 9 and percentage equal to 60. Now, how do you check your auto scaling? OC get HPA. HPA is the command. So what is the HPA? When my deployment reaches 60%, it should add pods and maximum it has to go up to 9 pods. Minimum at any given point of time, it should have 6 pods. Maximum it can go up to 9. So that is how you configure your HPS. Right? Two commands, OC auto scale deployment and the other one is OC set resources. You have to set the resources and deploy your application. Any doubts in this question? Seventh question.
No doubts.
So you also have to remember the commands and you have to test also, like check whether the configuration is up. Let's see, OC auto scale, I have run this and I am running this OC get HPA to get the details, whether HPA is configured. And after setting the resources, I am doing OC edit deployment to OC get deployment hyphen or YAML to check whether my deployment has these parameters. So you have to cross check everything, right? So that is your seventh question, right? Now eighth question we will do it later, maybe tomorrow. Okay, seventh is fine. Yeah. So again, you will have two questions, right? They will ask you to create a service account with some name. So OC create service account, simple, one simple command, right? And then create a service account for Git project, allow all privileges to run application, right? Now, remember in the lab, we have run the Git command, right? Git lab, right? So you can take the same example, okay? Git lab, search for Git lab, okay? Okay, search for GitLab. Yeah, this is in the chapter 1. This in chapter 8. Chapter 8, you have SCCs, right? So this question is on SCCs. You guys are aware of SCC, right? Security context. So if you want to give extra privileges to your application, we use SCCs. Okay. So you can run this command lab start and then that will configure your applications. Right? Right? But that's fine. You don't have to run this. So we will try to take the example of GitLab. Okay. Now in this lab, they will give you the location of your GitLab. Now, so we will configure that in the exam, like how we can replicate this. Now, create a service account, and the service account, they will give you the service account name, right? And they will give you the project name. Okay. Let's create one project. Let's go to project 2. Okay. So OC project okay. OC uh, project 2. Okay. OC get all. I don't have anything, right? Fine. Now, so now in the exam, they will ask you to create the service account inside this project. So you have to go to that project, OC project, project 2, then you have to create a service account. So how do you create service account? So, and then also they want us to assign any UID permission to the user. So what is the command to create service account? OC create SA. SA is short for the service account. And then name I will say git lab hyphen SA. That is how you get SA. OC get SA. You can check that one. OC get SA. You will see the service account GitLab hyphen SA. So in the exam, they will give you this project name. They will give you this service account name. So go to that project, create the service account. Okay. Now, after creating service account, you need to give extra privileges to the service account. So the command is OCADM policy add SCC to user. We are adding SCC security construct to a user, and any UID is a security context, and hyphen Z is your service account name. So the command will be something like this. Let me copy and change it. Right. And here my service account is GitLab hyphen SA. Right? What am I doing? I am adding my GitLab SA service account which I have created. I am adding that account this any UID privileges. So we are giving some extra privileges to this GitLab-SA account that is with any UID. Right? Right?
Yes.
So right, that is how you create SCCs to the service account. Now that is your this question. That's it. Nothing more you have to do. So create a service account, assign privileges. That's it. Nothing much. Now using this service account, they will ask you to deploy an application. Now in exam, either they might ask you to deploy an application or that application might be in the error state. Two options. Either the deployment will be there or the deployment might be in the pending state. So in both of the cases, right? So what you have to create is you have to okay, probably what I will do is I will create this, I will delete the service account. I'll tell you the real example. So OC delete SA GitLab SA. Okay. Okay. Let me delete that SA. Okay. Now this is the project. In the exam, you will have this right. So let me run this command. Okay. Now OC get port. Okay. So this will be running. So it should go into error state. So wait for it. It should go to the error state.
Are you trying to create any pod?
Yeah. So this is how your exam scenario will look like. Right? See, this in the exam, what is your project? OC project. So you will be inside some project and OC get pods. Your pods will be the error state. This is your exam scenario. So for that, what you do in when you practice is create a project and then run this command, which is this command, which is from chapter 8. Run this command. Now, when you run this command, your pod will be in error state. Now, this is your exam scenario. So now the first question is, they will ask you to create a service account. They have to attach the service account to this particular pod. Now, what is the issue for this project, for this application? So OC logs, check the logs of the pod. Okay, why? So you need to fix this error, right? So in the exam, you need to check the logs. So OC logs GitLab. Again, this application can be GitLab or it can be any lab, any application. So if you check the logs, right, somewhere it will show you etc GitLab insufficient permissions. So your pod doesn't have permissions to write into this file. So now to fix this issue, right? So we need to create a service account and then give that service account extra privileges, and then we have to attach that service account to your GitLab deployment. So 3 steps. So create service account, assign SCCs to service account, and attach service account to the deployment. So what is your deployment here? OC get deployment, GitLab is your deployment. So this is your exam scenario. In the exam scenario, you will have a project, you will have a deployment, and the pod will be in the error state. Error state is because of the permission issue. So for that, this is your question. So first thing is create service account. So OC create SA, and I will say GitLab-SA. And they will also mention the service account name. So in my case, GitLab-SA. So this name they will mention in the exam. Okay, so create a service account and then create a permission that is using this SCCs. Okay, OCADM policy, add SCC to user any UID, and the UID name is GitLab-SA. To this GitLab account, service account, I am adding any UID SCC. That is, the purpose of any UID is this application, when you assign this service account to this deployment, right? It can run your container with any UID, including 0, including root account, so with any UID. So that when you assign this to the deployment, right, the deployment will get additional privileges and your pod will be in the running state. Right? So now how do you check that? OC get service account. Okay. So you got the service account and OC get deployment. You have deployment. So the first part, the ninth question is done. So you have created a service account, you have attached the SCC to service account. 10th question is you need to fix the issue. Right? So in that case, see the same thing, etc GitLab, some permission is not there. Now what you have to do is you have to run this command. OC set service account, DC name, and the service account name. So what you are doing, you are attaching the service account to that particular DC, right? So the DC name is GitLab. So OC set, okay, OC set deployment, and the deployment name is GitLab. Okay, and then what you are doing, and service account. What is the service account name? GitLab-SA. OC set deployment name, I think.
OC set SA service account.
Sorry, OC set service account. OC set SA. Okay. Now if you say OC get pods, see, your pods should be running into running state. So in the exam, remember, the pod will be in the error state. So to solve that, right, you have to solve 2 questions. One is the 6th question, which is create service account and then attach service account to this. So these 2 questions are interdependent. Right? Finally, when you solve these 2 questions, the pod should go into the running state. Okay.
Okay.
That is your to test this in your lab. So first create a project and create a application GitLab account from this particular chapter, 8th chapter. So that will create the scenario. Then you create service account, attach SCC to service account, and then attach service account to the pod deployment. So that's how you can replicate the issue. But in exam, no need to create deployment in anything. Just create service account, attach service account to the deployment. That's it. Only 2 steps. Right? That is your right 9th and 10th question. Now the same thing. Now they will. There are 2 more questions. They will ask you to create a secret and attach a secret to the pod, running pod. So how do you create a secret? They say create a secret with credentials containing information about MySQL database. They will give you the secret name. They will give you the I mean, it can be MySQL, it can be any username in the exam. So they will give you the username, they will give you the password, whatever password that you have, right? So create a secret, and then you need to attach that secret to the application which is already running. So your application will already be there. Okay, so you have to create application is already there. You just need to attach that secret to the form. So how do you attach the secrets? OC set env DC secret name and then from secret, right? So you can also run this, a sample command. So probably you can test it, right? I mean, you don't need to test it, but I can tell you how you can check run this. Now, what you will do is let's create a application. So go back to your 280, search for OC create deployment. Okay. Search for this. You have that Nginx deployment, right? You check for this, this one. So OC gets deploy a sample application. So that application name is test workload. Okay. So now this is your deployment. In the exam, the deployment will already be there. Okay. And the pod might be in the error state again. So what you have to do is create a secret and attach the secret to the pod. So how do you create secret? They will say OC create secret generic, secret name. This name they will give in the exam. And from literal, they will give you this username and password. Right? So they will give you this username password. They will give you this secret name also. Only thing is you have to say OC create secret generic. You write this one and then create a secret. So if you see OC create secret generic, so I will change this to 280. Okay, and then the username password. So they will give this and this in the exam. Right? So create a.
Will they mention any project? I mean, it should be in some inside the project.
Yes, yes, yes. They should be. They say inside a database. See OC project. So first you have to switch.
Okay.
And then you have
Okay.
to. And remember, any command in exam that is given, no need to tell. Any question, you have to make sure you are in the right project. And in every question, they will tell you in so and so project, I have this, try to fix it. So they will mention the project name in every question. And before you run any command in OpenShift exam, you have to run OC project. Check which project you're working, switch to the right appropriate project, and then run the commands.
Okay.
But except cluster admin permissions. So if you see in the first 4 questions, right, those are not related to the projects. So for that, it doesn't matter. Login as a cluster admin, you can run from anywhere. Right? So now I have created a secret. Now I have to attach this secret to my running deployment. So OC get deployment. See, I have a test workload. Right? So to this workload, I have to apply my secret. So how do you set that? OC set env. The command is OC set env deployment name, deployment, and deployment name is this one. And then from secret hyphen from secret. What is the secret that we have created? EX280. So we are attaching this secret to this deployment called test workload as environment variables. And this updated. How do you test that? OC describe deployment, and the deployment name is test workload. So if you check this deployment, right, see environment, MySQL root password, and this is the root password. Right? So this is how you can test your environment variables. So 2 steps: create your secret and create your attach that to your application. Now, if you observe carefully, 11 and 12 are interlinked. So if you don't create this secret properly, you will lose these 2 questions, 11 and 12. Similarly, 9 and 10 are interlinked. Create a service account, attach service account. So if you lose any one of this question, you will lose these 2 questions. Right? So some questions are interdependent. So make sure you follow that process. Right? So create service account, attach to deployment, create secret and attach to deployment. That is how you can follow all these steps. So that is your 12th question. So any questions still until this 12th questions?
No.
No.
So that is your 12th question. And now this is one example we cannot replicate, but I will tell you the scenario. Nothing to do. Very, very, very simple question. So your application will be running in a China project. There is a project called China project, some project name. Your application will be deployed, and the application will be in the a crash loop backup or pending state. Okay, so if you look at how do you check the logs of a pending application? So OC get logs, OC get pods, OC logs, and the pod name, right? Or you can run OC describe pod and pod name. So in the log files, you will see that there is no you will see insufficient memory somewhere in the log files or the events. You will see insufficient memory. So that is because they have misconfigured your deployment with more memory, right? With more memory. So what you have to do is you have to edit the deployment, and if you go down in the memory section, they have given 80 GB or 60 GB. So they will give you in GB. So your application needs 60 GB. So currently I don't have any node which supports 60 GB or 80 GB. So they have given wrongly. So you have to change this GIB to MI. Megabytes. So GIB to MI. So either 80 or 60. You need to change those things. And then there is no, again, remember, they will not give you this value. They will not give you this value. So they will tell you, you have to make sure your application is running. So you will have 80 GB. So simply don't change this numbers 80 or 60. Just change this GIB to MI and save the deployment. And then when you say OC get pods, your pods will be in the running state. That's it. So edit the deployment and then change the MB to G. Any question?
How can we practice in the lab environment for this question?
You can, let's say you have this application, right? OC get deployment, right?
Yeah.
In the deployment, right? If you see OC edit deployment, right? Let's say test workload. You have resources section at the bottom if you see. You have resources somewhere. Let me show you. See resources. In the resources, you mention memory and CPU as 80 GB. Then definitely your application will be in the pending state. Right?
I mean, in the exam, it already presented with the different values.
Everything is there in the exam. Just open this file and change the values to 80 GB and 60 GB. That's it.
Okay.
Right? So go to the resources section. If you edit the deployment, your memory and CPU are defined under resources section. Remember,
Okay.
in deployments, your memory CPU are defined under resources. So go to that resources and change the GB to MI. That's it. Nothing much. You will have two places. So two places you change that. That's it.
Yeah.
This is a simple question. Change it and then your pods. Once you save it, it will recreate the pods and your pods should be in up and running.
Okay.
Okay. That is your 13th question. And then 14th is a simple one, which will tell you to configure the probes, liveliness probes. Right? So for that you need to go to the UI. Okay, so go to the UI. Let's say there is an application. Okay, again remember, project will be there, application will be there. You don't have to configure anything, right? So they will tell you there is a project and there is an application. So they want you to assign the health checks to the liveliness health checks to the particular project. So in our case, what we do is we go to the because we are in the project 5 here, right? So which project we are in? OC project. We are in project 2, right? So let's go to project 2. So in the console, go to the project 2. Okay, so go back, right? Go to the project 2. So where is your project 2? Search for project 2 here, go to that project. Go to project 2. Okay, so I'm inside currently in the project 2. Now, so go to deployment. So where do you find deployments? Go to workloads and go to deployments here. Go to deployments, and I am inside project 2. See project 2 deployments, right? And in the lab, in the exam, you will see one deployment. You will not see deployments. Probably I will delete this so that you will have a clear view. Right. So let's delete that. So in the exam, you will get scenario like this. So you have a project called project 2. Under this project 2, you have one deployment. Right. So you need to create liveliness probe to this deployment. So for that, go to the project, click on workloads, go to deployments. You will see the deployments here. Okay. Now after that, then click health check. So click on this DC. Okay. Right. Right. And then go to the right. So somewhere you will see the health checks. So
From the actions, maybe you can
that's also right.
add health check.
Action add health checks, right? And then here readiness probe, liveliness probe. So you can choose whatever you want. In the exam, 99% they will ask liveliness probe. If not, if they ask readiness probe, you can select readiness probe. It's just a probe, right? So click on liveliness probe, and what they will ask you to do, they will ask you to change these parameters, threshold value, success threshold. They will ask you to change these values. So change these values. So again, in the paper, we have not done anything here. So they will ask you they will ask you to change only this value. They will not ask you to change port number and all those stuff. They will ask you to change this threshold value or success threshold, initial delay or time period. So probably I'll change this to 11 seconds. So they will ask you to change those parameters and timeout equal to 1. So they will ask you these parameters. And then click on this tick symbol. Okay? So you should see liveliness provided.
Will they clearly mention that the field names,
Yeah.
like, without triggering us?
Yeah. So they will tell you the no problem. I'll delete this. So I will add a liveliness probe. So they will tell you, okay, make sure your failure threshold is 2, right? Or timeout is 3, and
Okay.
it is 5 seconds. They will tell you those two. I think they will give you 2 parameters. So change those 2 parameters, and the parameters they will give you these names: initial delay, period, timeout. They will give these things.
Okay. Okay.
And then click on save. So that will save your, and don't forget to save. You should see this liveliness provided. So otherwise,
Yeah.
you calculate it. If you did a mistake, just click on this minus, that will remove and again add one. So that's an easy way to check in the prompt. Yeah. That is your what is simple. So what is this simple? Right? And install operator. So how do you install operator? So go to graphics and then open the console. So I've given the instructions here. So run this lab command login. So but in exam directly you log into the console, right? And then click on operator hub and integrate it. So same thing. So go back to operators, click on operator hub, and then search for this integrity operator. So file system integrity. I click on this operator and then install. No need to change any parameter. Click on install and then keep it default and then click on install. That's it. And your operator should be installed. Right? That is how you install your operator. So installing operator is simple. Installing operator, installing probes, and creating this application is very, very simple. The 4 questions are very, very simple. So aid the deployment and change the configuration. Right?
Yeah.
Right. So that is the show console. And then yeah, I think we can conclude this today. So today's session.
Okay.
So we have completed till 15, leaving the eighth question. I'm not sure. Let's see.
Yeah, eighth question on the left.
Except 17th, we have done till 15th. Okay. So we have done till 15th, and we will continue. Maybe tomorrow we will need another maybe half or 40 minutes, and then we can finish it.
Okay.
Okay. And
Yeah,
you,
sure.
when you guys are available, only same time or you're available anytime?
I mean,
Before
in the morning sessions only. We
the
have
morning.
shifts at
Morning,
afternoon. Yeah.
morning, day. Morning is because tomorrow I have an appointment at 10:30.
Even early morning is okay for us.
Yeah.
Early morning, what time?
Anytime.
Anytime you can pick it.
8 to the sense. I have class at 7. I will complete by 7 to 8. Yeah, we can meet at 8:15.
Yeah, that's work for us.
8 should be okay, right?
Yeah.
Either sufficient to clear remaining topics or between, I
Yeah,
mean, before 10:30.
yeah, we can do this. So we can probably, I think we need just another half an hour. That's it. Our main questions are done. Only this one,
Okay.
and this also. I mean, for practicing, you need to practice, but in exam, it is very, very simple. I'll tell you the reason. I will tell you the way. So,
Yeah.
complete most of the topics, most of the questions.
Okay, sure.
Hardly leftover questions are almost 3 or 4. That's it, because we have done almost like 15, right? 15,
Yeah.
Yeah.
14 questions we have done, right?
Yes.
Another 3, 4 questions. That's it. So 1 hour.
Okay.
So if we can finish by at least by 9:45,
Yeah.
I can go by 10:30 then.
Sure. So
Yeah.
we can connect tomorrow at 8 or 8:15 around time,
Yeah.
right?
So 8:15,
The
I
sa-
will do, and in the meanwhile, give me 1 hour. I will upload this recording and exam paper to the G Drive.
Okay.
One second.
yeah, sure.
Let me save your email addresses, otherwise I will lose this. Let me save this. Local email. This is Basha. Okay, fine. I've saved them, right? So we'll connect tomorrow, maybe at 8:15.
Sure. Yeah.
Sure. Okay, guys. Yeah. See you tomorrow.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.